All right, everyone, the Springfield Hellcat is back on the channel, and you know what I got? I got two of them. Two Boondocks Saints style Springfield Hellcats. It's gonna get thrilling, everyone. It's gonna be exciting, it's gonna be sexy. I don't know how, it's gonna be sexy somehow though. We got a lot to talk about because we got fucking two of these things, right? I mean, it's going to get absolutely crazy, kids. Kids, speaking to you, I hope you're doing well, and I hope you are back in school, and you know, teachers are giving you good grades and all that good jazz. It's just one of those days where you can't keep your nose from running. Fortunately, these pig gloves have that nice little velvety zone right there. But anyway, we're gonna get into the new Hellcats by Springfield, the RDP. A couple quick things here for about 60 seconds of your precious time. We would appreciate if you subscribe to the channel. You can leave comments. We read them. We frequently reply to them to the extent that we can. And if you're an asshole in comments, you might wind up on our wall of shame on our Instagram post. So there's that. Aside from all this, our day gig is actually doing real estate. So largely wherever you are in the country, we can help you out, or at the very least give you some advice. We appreciate it if you don't waste our time, because you'd be amazed at some of the bullshit that's come through my inbox lately. But hey, if you're semi-serious, let's say, we can help you out. You can go to 1911syndicate.com, check out all that good shit. And then Patreon, we've got that. That's for the diehards that want to give us some of their hard-earned money or not hard-earned money. I don't know how you make your money. You can go to our Patreon site. We'll have that link below and check that good shit out. A couple other quick things, everybody. One, this is not the color of my chest hair. This is actually a cover for the microphone. It's called a dead cat, and that is an actual technical term. The cat owners, don't be mad at me. I didn't name it that, although that would be fucking awesome if that was actual chest hair coming out of my Arc'teryx jacket. Pistols were not sent to us from Springfield. They actually came, I'll give them a shout out to my buddy Nick. He's got a relatively new YouTube channel. It's called DEFCON Creative. You can look that up. But he got these. He did a review on these. I have not watched his review because I didn't want it to influence my opinion at all. But he did a review on these, and then he said he'd send them out. So these basically came from him, and then they go back to him at the end of this. Now, the Hellcat has been on our channel before. We did a review on the original Hellcat, frankly, not that long ago, maybe, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, 9 months ago, somewhere in that range. And I actually really liked it. It was a pistol that I thought, hey, look, I was skeptical going into this pistol because the Hellcat kind of had an interesting way that it was launched, where essentially Springfield sent them to a shit ton of influencers, and I don't know how that arrangement works. I don't fall on any of those lists. We have little influence, but I don't know how those lists work. I would imagine it's something to the effect of, we're gonna send you a pistol and you're gonna do a bunch of posts on it and you're gonna tell people that it's awesome. That's kind of how I would imagine that dynamic works. So that makes me skeptical when, hey, a pistol comes out, and basically the day that it comes out, a bunch of cool guys tell you that it's awesome and you should buy it. Call it what it is. That makes me a little bit skeptical. Sorry for the sound, everyone. Dog's chewing a stick over there. The RDP, which is this new guy here, suffers from a little bit of the same skepticism from me, because, hey, look, much like the new Walther pistol that came out, where it's like, the day that it came out, a lot of people with big followings are telling me that it's awesome. Call me crazy, makes it a little suspect to me, right? So we will break that down a bit. Now, a little bit of recap, because we're not going to do like a full-on Hellcat review again. You can go look at the original video if you want that. But it's a micro compact carry gun, aka it's tiny. It's meant to be a little small compact carry gun that has some capacity. So basically what you've got is, much like the SIG 365 and 365 XL, they're using, I don't know if they really consider it either double or like staggered magazine, but I think they'd probably just consider it a double stack mag. But basically they're getting big capacity out of a tiny little gun there, right? So these come standard with two different mags. They come with an 11, which is that son of a bitch, everyone. That's your 11 round mag, right? Basically, it just has that little pinky extension. Honestly, it's totally fine, even with gloves in my hand. For me, it's fine. And then it also comes with a 13. That's what the 13 looks like. You do get a little, essentially extension, you know, a little +2, I'm guessing, something like that that's on there. You can get a more full-on grip now. It's not dramatically different than the 11. But it is nice, right? So it comes with basically a 13 and 11. You can decide which you want to run. Now, it does come stippled, so all the stippling is not done aftermarket. This comes from the factory, so you've got some nice stippling around there, here, and one thing I really like that they do is they put a little stippling around a little thumb index point right there. And it's, you're not going to be able to see this on camera, but it is indented a little bit, if you will, so it is a nice, very tactile reference point of like, hey, that's where a thumb would go, where I can start to build that grip. Okay, I do think they do a good job on that. Comes with all these factory serrations, so serrations in the front for all of your press check needs, and in the back, even though the back obviously now has a red dot, but you've got serrations on both of those. It does come with iron sights that frankly are like miles better than something like you would get on a Glock 43X or 48 or something like that. Like, they're perfectly fine. Like, I would not change these out if I was buying one of these guns. The front sight is one of those cool sights where it's basically tritium, but it's got a big glow ring around it, so that essentially it's kind of operating in the best of both worlds between a fiber and tritium. So I quite like the sights. The rear is a U-notch, and that's fine in my books. And then the trigger on these guys, it's decent. It's decent. Not great, not terrible. It's, you go, it's acceptable. It's not super light, which again, on a carry gun, you probably don't want some like 3-gun competition fucking race trigger, right? It's like you want something that has a little bit of a, you know, a little bit of a bite to it. So like, it's totally fine. I probably wouldn't swap it out. I don't even know that you can swap these out. I don't know what the aftermarket's like for Hellcats, but there's that. Now, specific to this gun, which is of course why you're tuning into this, the two additions to this, the RDP, which stands for the Rapid Defense Pistol, are going to be the Comp and the Red Dot. So let's talk about those a little bit. The Comp. So basically the way this thing works is it just threads onto a threaded barrel and locks itself into place. It is frankly pretty intuitive. Now, earlier today I did have a little bit of issues. Something else that's cool about the Comp, the way that it's set up is you can take the Comp off and then you've just got a threaded barrel. The gun doesn't come with a thread protector per se, but basically what you could do is you could take off the Comp and you can throw on a suppressor. And that's cool, you know, that's a nice bonus. You know, it's a nice bonus. I gotta admit, I think that's a nice value add. So there's that. Basically, the idea behind the Comp is that, look, it's pushing gases up so that it's keeping your muzzle more flat. So how does that work? I will be the first to tell you I have a little bit of an unhealthy relationship with compensators. I just don't really see the point of them. If it's like a competition gun or something like that, where you're really just trying to have this, like, you can have this giant gaudy thing on the end of your gun and it's fine because those are the rules of the competition, or your IPSC or USPSA or whatever you guys do on Saturdays. hey, that's fine. But on carry guns, I've just never really gotten it. I mean, it's like, okay, I take a tiny gun and I add, you know, an inch or so to the barrel. I'm like, why wouldn't I just have a longer gun at that point? Why didn't I just get a longer, like a Glock 48 or something where it's longer, and therefore it by default is going to shoot a lot more flat? Like, to me, that's what makes sense. I'm giving you a little bit of a personal bias here because I'm just telling you, there's a part of me that thinks, look, I'm not the best person to have comped guns to review because I just have a bias against them. But does it work? The only way that I could really answer that for you was to throw a few hollow points through this. So we threw some, this was some Wilson Combat 115 grain plus P, okay? So 3 rounds, no comp. We're just gonna check recoil with and without the comp. Okay. Got a bite. Jeez.
A little longer.
It's a pretty hot load, as they say. And does it make a difference? So basically we shot a few rounds, and emphasis being on few because, you know, it makes me sad to have to shoot my good ammo for reviews. But without the comp, with the comp on, the comp does make a little bit of a difference. Is it dramatic? No, not really. I can't say it's dramatic. Does it make a little difference? Sure. Big difference? Not really. If you guys are running standard, like just range ammo through this, and you're like just doing a training day at the range and you just want to shoot with your comp on, I don't really know that range ammo, it's going to make much of a difference, okay? It's just my 2 cents. You guys who train with comps a lot, you might have a different experience than me, but that's my 2 cents. So that's the comp. The red dot. So what we've got here is, this is basically Springfield's own project that they're kind of releasing, to my understanding, in conjunction with this pistol, and they do have a couple other versions of this, but it's called the Hex Wasp. So it's the Wasp. It's the micro red dot. And they do have a full-size version as well. Basically, they got a full-size in the micro. But this is going to be very, very similar to the Shield RMSC, right? It is not going to be the most incredible red dot in the world, but the idea is, hey, look, just having a little miniature red dot to go on a carry gun, and that's the purpose of it, right? It's not meant to go to battle per se, or maybe that's just my interpretation of it. But the red dot does co-witness with the iron sights, right? So when I'm bringing up and I've got the red dot, so I've got the red dot on target, right? Well, on the rock right now. If the red dot went out, I've still got irons right there, so we're good to go. It basically perfectly co-witnesses with that front sight. So there's that. 65,000 hours of battery life. I'll take them at their word on that. I have not tested this out for 60,000 hours. To the best of my knowledge, there is no way to actually turn this off. I have not found it. If there is, it seems like it is on, and only on until it eventually dies. You know, a couple of observations. The little adjustments in terms of where you adjust for windage elevation are insanely tiny. I mean, are these adjustments for ants? Am I right? Like, what is going on here? Like, I don't even know what you stick in there, but it is tiny. I mean, literally, my eyes are not good enough to see. Is that a tiny Allen key? What is it? Maybe. Let's learn together, everyone. Ah, fuck, I left the boxes at home. I was gonna see if maybe they sent it with the key that you send in that, but I left the boxes at home. So, I don't know. It's definitely tiny, whatever it is. So, you know, there's that. Not that it really matters. It's micro, so they got some micro little fucking screws there. But there's no way to adjust the brightness. So basically this operates on that auto dim, auto brightness thing. Now, there's a pro and a con to that. The con is I trust myself enough to have control and power over the brightness setting. I like having that level of influence over how bright my dot is, so I would like to be able to control it. The con, of course, is in some hypothetical shit hits the fan scenario, like you took your dot from inside to outside and it's like now it's either too bright or too dim or whatever, so hopefully the dot will auto figure that out. It seems to refresh pretty slowly in terms of like, hey, look, if I covered this up so it thinks it's dark out, it seems like it takes a second, you know, like don't quote me on a second because it's longer than a second for this to refresh and start to actually adjust. So it's not super quick. I will tell you that out here we're in gloomy conditions. We have not had a glimpse of fucking sun all day, which has been really fun. And right now the dot is totally fine. I can see it can do everything I need to do. It's perfectly acceptable. Frankly, outside, this dot is a lot better to me than it's been inside. When I've been inside with it, it's like kind of flickery to my eye. And again, I concede that might be my vision that sucks. But when I'm indoors, it seems to be kind of, you know, jittery and like kind of, you know, flickers a little bit. Not like on and off and on and off, but just kind of, you know, little sketchy, like it took some speed and it's trying to figure out if I want to stay on or off, and it's just kind of flickering, right? Outside, been totally fine. Brightness is totally fine right now. So I would say, hey, look, the dot on its own, if you're just buying the dots, $300. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm back and forth. I think the dot is okay. I don't think it's great. I think it's okay. And I don't know the answer to this, so you're gonna have to go to a more educational-based review than this one. But if you said, hey, look, I'm buying a Hellcat, I want to put a dot on, my question would be, would something like whatever the mini Hollow Sun is, I think it's like 509, or even the mini RMR, like RMRC, I think it is, does that fit on this footprint or no? Is this gun specific to this Wasp, the Hex Wasp? I don't know why I was saying Wasp like that. I don't even know where that's coming from, guys. I'm just doing it. So that's what I want to know. Like, am I stuck with this dot or can I pick other dots? If I could pick other dots, I'd probably take other dots. If I'm stuck with this, and probably call it, you know, it is what it is. It's okay. That's about the best I can tell you. It's okay. There's two models of the RDP. There's this one, which is going to be your standard shit. And then there's this one. What's the difference? Thumb safety. So to call it a thumb safety is, you know, questionable, but there is a manual safety. That's probably a better way to put it. There's a manual safety on this, right? So that from this position, I cannot fire this gun. Now, I have to go a little open to interpretation here. I didn't have any contact with Springfield leading into this to learn anything about it, but I have to assume that no one's really thinking that from a draw stroke, like you're gonna draw from appendix and take off this safety, because frankly, it's just not in a position. I mean, like, look, that's where my thumb is. I can hit the slide release, but to come back here, literally, that's how far I would have to come off the gun with my thumb to on the pad of my thumb to actually hit that safety. Putting it back on, it's just, you know, there's no real ledge. Like you have to like legitimately like get underneath it to push it up. I have found a little bit of a hack, if you will, which is in essence, you've got to kind of take the meat of the curvature of this thumb and you can kind of hook it in there. So basically, as a lefty, I'd have to basically curve my thumb and use this little like kind of index point that's here, and then I could take it off. On a draw stroke, I don't really see it happening. Because in a draw stroke, like, look, I'm trying to build my grip. I can't build my grip if this thumb has to come back here and hook this thing to get it off. So the manual safety, it's a little bit of an odd choice. I think it's perfectly fine to have. I don't know that, I would not pick that model if I was picking one of these. I would say, hey, look, give me the one with just the trigger safety. Some thumb safety is a little bit irrelevant to me. So yeah, you know, that's that. Price, these guys are $900. The standard Hellcat is $600, and it comes with an optic plate. So really what you got to look at is you got to go, look, the standard Hellcat, $600. This one's $900, so it's an extra $300, but I get the comp and I get the dot and the ability to take off the comp and throw on a suppressor, although it seems a little bit ludicrous. Like, what's the scenario? We've got a micro compact gun with a suppressor on it. Like, sorry, you're not living in an assassin movie. Like, life doesn't fucking work that way. You're not in James Bond GoldenEye, you know, so everyone relax a little. It's cool, but that's about the extent of it. But hey, between the comp, threaded barrel, red dot, is it worth an extra 300? Maybe. It might be. Like, I don't think it's a bad buy. For me, I would tell you, I think the regular Hellcat's what I would take. I like the original Hellcat. I'm a little soft on this because I think the only time that comp's really going to be noticeable is on some hollow points or something like plus P ammo. The red dot, I don't know that I would consider it my favorite red dot. I'd rather have other options. So look, personally, I'll take the original Hellcat all day. Big fan of that gun, and that's what I would take. This isn't bad, but it seems a little, you know what it seems? It's like Game of Thrones, where you go, okay, man, Game of Thrones was a big hit. What do we do now? Spin-off, and you're like, let's give them fucking 12 spin-offs, and it's kind of like that. You're like, okay, the original Hellcat was cool. How do we kind of milk the Hellcat crowd for a little bit more? Let's do some spin-offs. That's all this is. It's a Game of Thrones spin-off in the form of a Springfield Hellcat. I don't actually mean that in a bad way. You probably think I do, and you might even think this is a negative review. It's not, because I really like the Hellcat. I just think the original Hellcat's the one that I would take. This one, it's okay. I think it depends on what you're doing. So that probably didn't win me any favors over at Springfield, but hey, I gotta shoot you guys straight. I gotta shoot you straight, all right? So now these can go back to their home, and he can do whatever he wants with them. So that's that. Welcome to the channel if it's your first time here. We track a little bit all over the place, and we do recommend you drink while you watch this channel because it makes the channel a lot more entertaining. Until next time, stay in school,